The Tyranids, the great devourer. In all the stars, there has never been a Xenos race more inimical to the survival of mankind.
The Tyranids emerged from the cold of the intergalactic void with a single goal: to hunt, kill, and assimilate all organic life in the galaxy.
The adepts of Mars believe that a single unknowable consciousness guides the hive fleets about their voracious purpose. This consciousness knows only unquenchable hunger.
Like swarming insects, they devour all before them, consuming everything upon each world in their path, and leaving nothing but barren rocks in their wake.
As the hive fleets advance, the suffocating embrace quenches the Emperor's light and drowns doomed worlds in psychic shadow.
For the Tyranids, victory lies in consuming all of the biomass in the galaxy. Until that moment, they will continue to unleash numberless waves of alien predators. To witness a tyrannic assault is to witness unspeakable horror.
An alien threat has risen beyond the abyss, a swarm so vast that it blots out the stars. This horror fights neither for power nor territory, but rather to feed a hunger so insatiable that it will eventually devour the entire galaxy. The Tyranids are an extragalactic zoo of hideous, insect-like aliens that redefine the term biodiversity with their countless variants. They're not just another species in the cosmos. They're an entire predatory ecosystem on wings, traversing the vastness of space with a singular, chilling purpose. The creatures don't discriminate in their dietary preferences. Everything from the humblest of bugs to the most advanced civilizations are on the menu. It's only now, as their shadow looms ever larger, that the galaxy's denizens grasp the enormity of the threat. The Tyranids don't just aim to conquer, they intend to devour, threatening the very fabric of life itself with extinction. Driven by a relentless hunger for survival, propagation, and curiously, evolutionary advancement, the Tyranids embody the notion of survival of the fittest on a cosmic scale. Their hive fleets, a nightmarish blend of organic and mechanical, sweep through the universe like a locust swarm of biblical proportions, consuming all biomatter in their path to fuel their own grotesque proliferation and evolution. These voracious voyagers leave behind nothing but barren husks of once thriving worlds, their insatiable appetite rendering entire planets lifeless in mere weeks. At the heart of this bio-horror lies a Tyranid's synaptic nature, a psychic network that binds trillions of creatures into a single, terrifying collective consciousness. This hive mind enables instantaneous communication and coordination across unfathomable distances, orchestrating their interstellar buffet with horrifying efficiency. In their unyielding hunger, they present not just a war of worlds, but a battle for the very biomass of the galaxy. In the grand, merciless theater of cosmic conflict, they embody the principle that sheer quantity can indeed eclipse traditional notions of quality. From the humble Ripper to the formidable hive tyrant, the hallmark of Tyranid warfare is an overwhelming onslaught of biomass, with vast legions birthed at breakneck speed from the stolen essence of planets. Their strategy, a simple yet chillingly effective one, drown the enemy in a tidal wave of fangs and claws, derived from the very lifeblood of the worlds they ravage. When these extragalactic locusts encounter the demons of chaos, it's an encounter devoid of any potential for mutual benefit. The ephemeral nature of warp stuff provides no nourishment for the Tyranids, while the demons find the alien intellect of the hive mind beyond their reach, immune to fear or corruption. Thus, these apex predators clash not in pursuit of common ground, but in a brutal contest for the galaxy's mortal bounty, locked in a struggle so fierce that only one can claim the right to feed upon or ruin the myriad lives that teem within the cosmos. The anatomy of a Tyranid invasion is a study in organized chaos, with their hive fleets moving as one in formidable swarms. Each swarm is a meticulously assembled collection of bioengineered monstrosities, each designed to dissect and digest a diverse menu of galactic life. Their evolutionary prowess doesn't stop at mere physical adaptation. The Tyranids possess an uncanny ability to harvest and assimilate genetic material from their victims, turning every conquest into an opportunity to integrate new, advantageous traits into their genetic repertoire. This insidious form of biopiracy serves a dual purpose: to refine their efficiency as galactic consumers and to stockpile the organic resources necessary for their endless cycle of reproduction and evolutionary refinement. At the pinnacle of this biological hierarchy sits the Norn Queen, a creature of unparalleled intellect and the linchpin of the Tyranid reproductive process. These queens are not just important, they're indispensable, for without them, the ceaseless tide of Tyranid warriors would ebb away, their numbers dwindling with each lost biomass. Guarded zealously within the heart of their hive ships, the Norn Queens epitomize the phrase, brain over brawn, orchestrating the symphony of destruction that allows the Tyranid swarms to advance, unrelenting and insatiable, across the stars. I don't know where they came from. It seems highly unlikely that they evolved naturally into what they are now. Impossible given what we know about evolution. Perhaps they are some kind of bioweapon, created millennia ago by madmen for some long-forgotten war. If so, I suspect that their creators soon came to regret their creation. Or perhaps they come straight from the warp. Possibly the Lords of Chaos themselves cast them out because they were too unpleasant. As the galaxy's most infamous interstellar nomads, the Tyranids have traversed the cosmic void's terrifying emptiness, a place where time and space stretch apart in an unfathomable gulf, a testament to the universe's indifference. Despite these astronomical hurdles, these cosmic voyages have bridged this expanse, their journey spanning the aeons to breach our galactic frontiers. The impetus behind such a monumental trek, theories abound. Perhaps their own galactic pantry ran bare, prompting a desperate quest for fresh sustenance. Or maybe this is merely the latest in an eternal cycle of cosmic feasting. There's even whispered speculation of a flight from a menace so dire, the void's vast emptiness seemed like a preferable risk. To embark on such an odyssey, the Tyranids must possess a resolve beyond comprehension, fueled by an insatiable hunger and powered by energy reserves that defy imagination. Throughout their intergalactic passage, they lay in the deep freeze of hibernation, a testament to their singular focus and survival instinct. Now, as they stir from their slumber upon reaching our galactic shores, their awakening signals are hunger unsated, a predatorial instinct unbounded. The first brush of humanity with this alien scourge is officially recorded in the eastern fringes in the year 745 M41, marking a new chapter of terror for the Imperium. Yet, whispers within the shadowy halls of the Ordo Xenos suggest that our history with these extragalactic invaders may stretch back much further, possibly as early as the 35th millennium. These rumors hint at a longer, perhaps more entwined history, suggesting that the Tyranids' arrival is not the beginning of the story, but merely the latest chapter in a saga that spans millennia. In a cosmic drama fit for the ages, the Tyranids, those extragalactic invaders with appetites as vast as space itself, honed in on the Milky Way galaxy, lured by the irresistible psychic glow of the Astronomicon. This beacon, a lighthouse in the warp, emanates from Terra itself, where the Emperor of Mankind projects his indomitable will. It was the oceanic planet of Tyran that first felt the wrath of the Tyranids, marking the beginning of the Imperium's official records of contact with these alien devourers. From Tyran, the High Fleet Behemoth, a name that would become synonymous with interstellar dread, carved a path of destruction towards the galaxy's heart, leaving nothing but void in its wake. The saving grace came in the form of the Ultramarines, a chapter of the Space Marines renowned for their valor and tactical acumen. On the battlefield of Mikraj, they clashed with the Tyranid menace. Victory was theirs, but it was a devastating one, leaving scars that would take centuries to heal. The invasion routes of the Tyranid High Fleets, as charted before the cataclysmic opening of the Great Rift in 999 M41, paint a grim tapestry of repeated assaults from the void. In an intriguing twist, Commissar Caiaphas Kane stumbled upon a dormant Tyranid swarm, deep in the ice on Nusquim Fundamentibus in 942 M41, remnants of a hive ship that met its demise long before the human fleet tread upon the planet's frozen crust. This discovery predated the Imperium itself, unsettling the Inquisition with the possibility that Tyranids had been entwined with the galaxy's fate far longer than anyone dared imagine. Was this bioship part of an ancient reconnaissance mission, a vanguard of a thwarted pre-Imperial invasion, or a sinister seed planted by a Tyranid intellect, biding its time across millennia? Theories abound, but the truth remains as elusive as the cold stars, leaving us to ponder the depth and duration of the Tyranid threat lurking within the dark recesses of space. In the waning years of the 41st millennium, precisely in 993 M41, the Tyranid menace once again darkened the galaxy's doorstep. this time with High Fleet Kraken. Shrewdly eschewing the brute force tactics of its predecessors, Kraken splintered into a myriad of smaller fleets, each a harbinger of doom for the star systems it enveloped, outpacing any hope of Imperial reinforcement. The spearhead of this onslaught fell upon the scythes of the Emperor and the Lamenter's Space Marines chapters, the former teetering on the brink of annihilation. Though the Imperial forces managed to fracture the spine of the Kraken at the pivotal battles of Ikar IV and the Eldari craftworld Leandin, the victory was devastating. The remnants of Kraken, now splintered fleets, carved paths of destruction deep into Imperial territory, their tendrils even brushing against the borders of the Tau Empire. A mere blink later, in 997 M41, the galaxy was ambushed yet again by the emergence of High Fleet Leviathan. Approaching from an unexpected vector below the galactic plane, Leviathan cleaved through the galaxy, isolating swaths of it from aid. Just as Terra braced for the worst, fate intervened. The Leviathan was lured into the maelstrom of the Octarius sector, home to a formidable Orc empire. The ensuing Octarian War, a clash of titans between the Tyranid swarm and Orc warbands, offered the galaxy a respite, albeit a temporary one. The Leviathan, having clashed with the Orcs, re-emerged not just unscathed, but enhanced, having assimilated the formidable Orcoid genetics into its already terrifying biological arsenal. This macabre evolution promises a foe more formidable than ever, casting a long shadow over the future of the Imperium and beyond. There is a cancer eating at the Imperium. With each decade it advances deeper, leaving drained dead worlds in its wake. This horror, this abomination, has thought and purpose which functions on an unimaginable galactic scale, and all we can do is try to stop the swarms of bioengineered monsters it unleashes upon us by instinct. We have given the horror a name to salve our fears. We call it the Tyranid race. But if it is aware of us at all, it must know us only as prey.
As I speak these words, our forces engage the remnants of Leviathan, a crusade to cleanse the stars, taking the fight to the enemy. We routed the Tyranids at Baal. We broke their high fleet. Soon, their foulness will be but a memory.
As the 41st millennium drew to a cataclysmic close, High Fleet Leviathan set its ravenous sights on Baal, the sanctified bastion of the Blood Angels. In response, a clarion call united the chapter with its kin, summoning successor chapters far and wide to defend the legacy of their Primarch on this hallowed ground. Yet the Leviathan's mass threatened to engulf the progeny of Sanguinius in darkness. Amidst this dire siege, the cosmos itself seemed to conspire against them as a great rift cleaved through reality, unleashing warp storms upon the Baal system. These empiric tempests wreaked havoc, scattering the Leviathan's orbital might and casting it into the warp's insatiable maw. Yet in this chaos, an ancient vendetta found its theater on the moon of Baal Prime. Karbanda, a name that whispers centuries of blood and hatred, emerged at the head of a demonic horde. This bloodthirster, fixated on the annihilation of the Blood Angels as his personal crusade, decimated the Tyranid invaders, transforming their remains into a grotesque monument to his malice. The aftermath saw the skies clear as the Great Rift's madness subsided, revealing the arrival of Rubok Gilliman and the Indomitus Crusade. With reinforcements at their side, the beleaguered Blood Angels purged the remaining Tyranid presence. The devastation of Baal, as it would come to be known, marked both salvation and a brutal victory, the chapter's ranks nearly obliterated in the ordeal. Baal stood, a testament to sacrifice, its defenders a shadow of their former strength, yet unbroken in spirit. They have only one purpose, and there is nothing they will not do to accomplish this, no matter how vile or loathsome it might be. These abominations mean to destroy everything proud and noble, everything we hold dear and have fought so long to achieve. The cosmos was cut by the Great Rift, a celestial division heralding the onset of the Era Indomitus, a dark epoch for the age of the Imperium. This cosmic laceration unleashed a deluge of warp storms, inundating the material realm with the turbulent essence of chaos, and with it, a tide of empiric pandemonium spread across the galaxy. For the Tyranids, entities that sail the starry sea on currents of biomass, this incursion of chaos posed an existential threat. The raw, chaotic psychic energies offered no nourishment, no sustenance crucial for their sprawling galactic buffet. As the empiric storm engulfed system after system, the Tyranids found their larders locked away, entire worlds of biomass receding from their grasp beneath waves of madness. Yet it is in the crucible of adversity that the Tyranids' most terrifying trait shines, their unparalleled adaptability. In the shadow of their setback at Baal, and facing a galaxy increasingly hostile to their feeding grounds, the hive mind, an intellect as ancient as it is relentless, evolved. New forms of life, new strategies of hunt and harvest emerged, a testament to their eerie resilience. And responding to this evolving threat, the remnants of the High Fleet Leviathan surged in a bold offensive along the southern reaches of the Segmentum Solar, their sights fixed towards Terra itself. In retaliation, Primarch Gilliman, the architect of the Imperium's resurgence, deployed an armada of newly minted Primaris Marine chapters to the fray. This move marked the ignition of the Third Tyrannic War, a conflict that would not only test the mettle of those nascent warriors, but also the very future of biomass and madness in the galaxy. To think that Tyranids are mindless beasts is a grave mistake. When you fight Tyranids, you face not only those before you on the battlefield, but the untold thousands which seek to surround you, which attack your supporting units and destroy your supply lines in perfect synchronicity. These aliens have shown evidence of both tactics and strategy that speaks of a far worse threat than any posed by a mere beast. Hailing from the cosmic unknown, beyond the intergalactic expanse of the local group, the Tyranids are nature's ultimate usurpers, traversing the void with a bioengineered majesty. These extraterrestrial voyagers navigate the stars aboard their hive ships, colossal living entities that defy the vacuum of space, akin to gargantuan locusts of Terran legend, swarming through the cosmos with an insatiable hunger. The Tyranid Armada is a menagerie of organic spacecraft, each a self-contained ecosystem teeming with myriad subservient creatures, all birthed from the grotesque fertility of the ship's own reproductive chambers. These living vessels and their innumerable inhabitants are but limbs of a singular, vast organism, the High Fleet itself, a celestial beast of unfathomable appetite. Driven by an instinctive strategy, these hive fleets propagate through the galaxy in tendrils, consuming the biomass of planets in their path, leaving behind barren wastelands before moving on. Their numbers, already vast, multiply with each conquest, a relentless cycle of devour and departure. The Tyranid invasion is not a war of conquest in any traditional sense. They seek no territory, bear no grudges, and their actions are devoid of pride or vengeance. The hive mind, a consciousness as alien as its bearers, knows only the eternal hunger that drives them forward, a force as natural and impersonal as the universe itself. They don't just invade, they descend upon worlds with the grim efficiency of nature's most meticulous recyclers, driven by an unyielding need to consume. Their voracious appetite demands an incessant intake of biomass to both sustain the hive fleets and spawn new monstrosities. Thus, when they set their sights on a planet teeming with life, every Tyranid, from the lowliest drone to the mightiest behemoth, becomes a singularly focused agent of absorption, dedicated to converting all organic matter into a part of their ceaseless cycle. With military precision, the Hive Fleet deploys its bioengineered legion, purposed solely for subduing any resistance and ensuring the complete bioassimilation of the planet. As you can imagine, this process transforms vibrant worlds into desolate husks, their essence fueling the Tyranid's relentless expansion. Navigating the stars at speeds that defy the laws of physics, yet eschewing the chaos of warp travel, the Tyranids employ the Narval, a hive ship variant with a psychic prowess to warp reality itself, bending the gravitational forces of star systems to vault through space at faster-than-light speeds. Meanwhile, the vast psychic might of the Tyranid hive mind casts a dark pall over the warp, known as the shadow in the warp, a phenomenon that disrupts psychic communication and navigation across the stars. This invasive force, now converging on the Milky Way, hints at a chilling history of galactic veracity. The varied approach vectors of the Tyranid hive fleets to our galaxy suggest a past littered with the consumed remnants of countless of other galaxies within the local group, painting a portrait of cosmic predation on an unimaginable scale. Across the heavens, the flotilla of bioships stretched out, impelled by instinct to hibernate again until new prey was found, new resources could be plundered. In their wake was left a bare rock orbiting a star, scoured of every organic particle, stripped of all but the most basic elements. Nothing was left of the farming world of Longasta 3. There were no testaments to the humans who had once lived there. Now all that was left was an airless asteroid, the unmarked death place of 3 million people. The interstellar interlopers have insidiously woven themselves into the fabric of the galaxy, spreading like a virulent contagion across the domains of humanity and many Xenos species alike. Their hive fleets teem with a plethora of symbiotic entities, each birthed from the genetic crucibles nestled within the vessels. These organisms are engineered to serve the vessel, which in turn serves the greater will of the hive fleet, a singular, relentless drive towards proliferation and genetic diversification. In contrast to the motives that propel the armies of the Imperium, the Tau's quest for expansion, the anarchic bloodlust of chaos and all kindreds, the Tyranids are guided by a primal yet profoundly complex imperative to reproduce, evolve, and thereby ascend to apex predation. The hive mind, a transcendent consciousness that orchestrates this cosmic symphony of consumption, commands its fleets with the singular aim of ensuring the species' continued adaptation and survival through relentless assimilation of genetic material. The arrival of a Tyranid hive fleet heralds a terror unmatched, striking at the very heart of even the most dauntless defenders humanity can muster. And though a Tyranid invasion may be repelled, the galaxy's respite is but fleeting. The nature of the Tyranid threat lies in its inexorable cycle of regeneration and migration. This perpetual menace embodies the ultimate meta-predator, a species that has perfected the art of survival across the Gulf of Stars, outmaneuvering, out-consuming, and enduring beyond the capacities of all other life forms encountered in their intergalactic odyssey of predation. A new tyrant joined the fray, and, in an eye blink, the whole character of the swarm changed. The ravening berserker spirit that had driven the Tyranids onto the ridge was gone, as if it had never existed. Left in its place was something cannier and infinitely more worrisome. It was then that I knew the battle to be lost. The learned Magos biologists of the Imperium's scholarly echelons file each Tyranid hive fleet into neat categorical boxes, viewing them as individual actors on the cosmic stage, each fiercely independent, vying for resources and showcasing a dazzling array of tactics and monstrosities tailored to their quarry. Yet this perception barely scratches the surface of a far more intricate reality. Each fleet, in its staggering uniqueness, is but a tendril of a much grander entity. Imagine, if you will, a swarm so immense it eclipses the stars themselves, a living tide of flesh and chitin. Yet for all their number, these myriad forms constitute merely the constituent parts of an organism of unfathomable scale and complexity. Each Tyranid, from the smallest feeder organism to the most gargantuan biotitan, functions as a cell within the vast corpus of a singular, incomprehensibly vast superorganism. This entity, bound by the unseen threads of a shared consciousness, orchestrates its parts with the precision of a maestro conducting a symphony of destruction. Known as the hive mind, this collective sentience spans the void, a psychic dominion that unites a Tyranid species in flawless coordination. Under its ancient and inscrutable will, worlds have been consumed and civilizations lost to memory, their existence snuffed out in a relentless pursuit of sustenance that has endured since the dawn of time. In the alien ranks of the Tyranid hordes, individuality is a concept as foreign as peace. The vast majority of its organisms are bioengineered with a singular focus, designed to execute specific functions with the efficiency of a machine. Devoid of what humanity would recognize as individual consciousness, these creatures operate on instinct, guided by the inflexible directive of the hive mind, unless instructed otherwise. Among the teeming masses, however, exist entities of higher complexity. These larger, more sophisticated bioforms possess a capacity for rudimentary decision-making, calibrated finely to respond to the immediate demands of their environment. Yet even these advanced faculties are but tools in service of the overarching objectives of the hive mind. The psychic tendrils of the hive mind entwine most tightly around apex predators such as Tyranid warriors and the dreaded hive tyrants. These elite units don't communicate through language as we know it, but are conduits of a synaptic telepathy, echoing the commands of the hive mind to their lessers. It's through these linchpins that the Tyranids achieve their terrifying coordination, acting as one organism spread across countless bodies. However, this unity is not without its vulnerabilities. The demise of these synaptic leaders can sever the connection to the hive mind for many of the lower forms, plunging them into primal, instinct-driven behavior. This potential weakness necessitates the existence of multiple synapse creatures within the swarm, a redundancy ensuring the undiluted propagation of the hive mind's will, maintaining the Tyranids' fearsome collective discipline across the stars. How ironic it is that as fast as we spread progress and hope throughout the galaxy, the Tyranids spread death and despair. Only united can we hope to stand against them.
There are many hive fleets, each but a facet of the immeasurable Tyranid threat. Leviathan is the greatest, and has wrought ruin on a scale never before witnessed. Such is the hive mind's suffocating will that the warp is distorted for light years around. Confusion and terror spread before the hive fleets advance, as dreams darken and madness spreads.
The arrival of a Tyranid hive fleet casts a foreboding cloud before it, a psychic storm that engulfs star systems in its chilling embrace. This phenomenon, known as the shadow in the warp, acts as a sinister herald of devastation, severing worlds from the lifelines of warp travel and communication. Planets smothered by this ominous silence offer no whisper of the nightmares unfolding upon them, standing as silent sentinels to the approaching horror. Whether an intentional weapon of terror or merely a side effect of the Tyranid hive mind's immense presence, the shadow in the warp sows panic and despair with ruthless efficiency. Its psychic weight crushes the spirits of defenders, casting shades of dread over entire civilizations. For beings attuned to the warp, like the Eldari or unfortunate human psykers, this effect is a torment amplified. Psykers, daring to tap into their powers amidst the shadow, find themselves assailed by the cacophony of alien consciousness, a maddening choir that can break even the most resilient minds, leaving them to babble in the tongue of the alien, unable to pronounce the horror they perceive. The Imperium of Man, so reliant on its psykers for communication and navigation across the stars, finds itself particularly vulnerable. Astropaths and navigators, essential for the functioning of the Imperium's vast interstellar empire, are rendered impotent by the shadow, leaving worlds cut off from hope of reinforcement or escape. Thus, when the shadow descends, it marks not just a coming of the Tyranid horde, but the end of hope for those in its grip. Isolated, with only their resolve in the arms they bear against the night, the besieged must stand alone against the swarm, their fate sealed by the silent, smothering herald that is, the shadow in the warp. The Tyranid horde operates under a unifying psychic network dubbed the Synapse, a bond transforming their collective into a vast, singular superorganism. This network is a linchpin of their unity, enabling the swarm to enact the will of the hive mind with such precision and harmony that, without it, the sprawling mass of creatures would devolve into chaos. Every creature, from the diminutive feeder organisms and decomposing microbes to the sessile, plant-like entities and the sprawling, tendril-like extensions of the hive fleets, plays a critical role within this collective consciousness. The numerous lesser beings of the Tyranid species, encompassing animals, plants, and bacteria, exist and function in a state of mindless automation, driven by instinct to fulfill their roles without awareness or intent. In contrast, the more developed bioforms possess the cognitive capacity for situational decision-making, albeit as infinitesimal contributors to the broader psychic mosaic that is the hive mind's consciousness. This hierarchy of awareness and control ensures that every action, no matter how small, aligns with the overarching imperatives of the swarm, orchestrating a symphony of alien logic across the stars. The more I learn about these aliens, the more I come to understand what drives them, the more I hate them. I hate them for what they are, and for what they may one day become. I hate them not because they hate us, but because they're incapable of good, honest, human hatred. In the arranged chaos that defines the Tyranid hordes, unity and coordination spring not from a centralized command but from a psychic lattice, a synaptic network underpinned by the collective will of the hive mind. This complex web, teeming with psychic energy, lacks a singular hierarchy, instead relying on a plethora of synapse creatures. These entities, boasting brains a notch above their kin, act as psychic conduits, navigating, refining, and directing the mental currents of their vast, planet-spanning collective. The synapse creatures, vital cogs in the Tyranid machine, ensure the swarm's relentless advance remains coherent. Without their influence, the swarm's singular purpose fragments, with some Tyranids reverting to base, instinct-driven behavior, and others clustering into smaller, autonomously functioning groups still capable of rudimentary consensus. Endowed with formidable psychic abilities, these snap creatures serve as the hive mind's executors, but their methods of shielding their immense psychic footprint from the ravenous entities of the warp, or indeed avoiding unwanted attention from the chaos demons, remains a mystery. This enigmatic safeguarding against the predations of the warp's horrors is a subject of both wonder and terror for the Imperium scholars, a dark testament to the alien intelligence guiding the Tyranid menace. They come at you in a tide of creatures so thick a blind man could score a hit 10 times out of 10. Any man who can hold a gun can hit a Tyranid, but no matter how many you kill with your guns, there will always be more, and it is our job to teach the men how to fight the ones that reach our lines. While hive fleets avoid the warp-infested highways utilized by Imperial starships, their swift encroachment across the galaxy unveils a clandestine mastery over faster-than-light voyages. Bound by the gravitational shackles of planetary systems to a slower pace, these extragalactic marauders unleash their true velocity in the void between stars, thanks to the enigmatic prowess of a creature known to Imperial academia as the Narval. This bioship, a stark contrast to its kin, forgoes the typical armaments and armored hide for a form almost vulnerably sparse, its essence dedicated to navigation rather than battle. Adorned with a delicate array of monofilament spines, the Narval listens to the cosmic song, sifting through gravimetric rhythms and electromagnetic whispers to pinpoint distant planetary systems. Harnessing this astrogational symphony, the Narval exploits the gravitational heart of its origin systems to weave a fabric of compressed space-time, a corridor allowing the Hive Fleet to leap across the stars with unseen swiftness. Yet this ingenious method has its kryptonite. The intense gravitational pull of nearby celestial bodies disrupts the Narval's delicate senses, confining this space-time manipulation to the vast, open stretches of interstellar space. Upon nearing the gravitational embrace of a new star system, the Hive Fleet transitions from the rapid, celestial shortcuts enabled by the Narval to a more traditional, albeit biologically engineered mode of propulsion. This shift to a reaction-based thrust signifies a deceleration of their advance, potentially delaying their onslaught by years, or even decades, measured in Terran time. Despite its slower pace compared to warp drive traversal, this method boasts an unparalleled reliability, allowing the Tyranid swarm to progress through the galaxy with relentless, inexorable determination. Yet the Narval's gravitational gymnastics are not without their cosmic ripples. The manipulation of a system's gravity well can wreak havoc on destination worlds, triggering a litany of cataclysms, earthquakes that tear the ground asunder, solar flares that sear the sky, and tidal waves that engulf the land. Ironically, these prelude disasters serve the Tyranid cause, entangling the planet's defenders in a web of crisis management, their attention diverted from the looming extraterrestrial threat. By the time these calamities have begun to unfold, the stage is already set for the invasion, and as the planet reels from these natural upheavals, the dark silhouette of the Hive Fleet eclipses the stars, and the descent of the first mycetic spores marks the beginning of the end, with the defenders scrambling amidst the chaos sown by the swarm's herald, the Narval. The Tyranids are singular in purpose. We are born to serve the Abba Abba Mushiro, but our lives are one of distraction. Not them. They are bred with one aspiration, and it is an aspiration without diversion, without division. They are remorseless. They are driven, and they fear nothing. Why would they? They are reborn again and again, ready to fight and die and continue on.
Foul creatures known as gene stealers infiltrate unvigilant worlds. a patriarch arises from the population's subverted flesh and projects a psychic beacon to draw the Hive Fleet ever closer. As the Genestealer cult grows in power, they emerge from the shadows of their benighted world. Civil war rages, shaking the planet asunder.
The Tyranids manifest in a kaleidoscope of forms, each engineered by the hive mind to evolve at breakneck pace, tailoring their biology in real time to counteract and overwhelm their adversaries. This relentless cycle of consumption and rebirth sees Tyranids' biomass perpetually recycled through reclamation pools, where it's either reforged into new entities or refined to enhance existing ones, always aligning with the strategic whims of the hive mind. Hive Tyrants stand as the vanguards of this alien horde, massive beings of unparalleled strength and psychic prowess, serving both as the swarm's commanders and psychic relays. Their bond with the hive mind is profound, imbuing them with adaptability and martial skills superior to their kin, capable of dominating in melee and ranged combat alike. Some even boast wings, further testament to their variable nature. Techno-magi within the Imperium speculate that Hive Tyrants act as vessels for the fleet's collective sentience, embodying the Hive Mind's will. Yet their fall does not diminish the Hive Mind's omnipresence. The zenith of the Genestealer lineage, brood lords are formidable synaptic entities that spearhead the Tyranids' planetary incursions. Masters of stealth and brutal conflict, they excel in piercing enemy lines undetected. These creatures are not only battlefield terrors, but also architects of subversion, anchoring the insidious Genestealer cults that undermine worlds from within. In the event of a broodlord's demise, the genetic legacy it leaves behind ensures its replacement, as a pure strain Genestealer ascends to fill the void, perpetuating the cycle of infiltration and terror. Crafted from the singular mission of safeguarding the Hive Tyrant, Tyrant Guards emerge in small, dedicated broods. These giants are the bulwarks of the Tyranid swarm, boasting an almost impenetrable defense. Devoid of sight, their existence is intertwined with the synapse creatures they shield, reacting to threats with unerring precision. Occasionally, even a Carnifex might find sanctuary under their watchful guard. Speculation among the Adeptus Mechanicus suggests that these guardians may harbor Space Marine DNA, a theory that skirts the edge of heresy within the Imperium's dogma. As the synaptic core of the swarm's foot soldiers, Tyranid warriors stride the battlefield with a presence that bridges the gap between the towering Hive Tyrant and the numerous Gaunts. Serving as psychic beacons, they marshal the lesser breeds with an ironclad psychic grip, versatile enough to engage foes at range or in the crush of melee, mirroring the adaptability of their Hive Tyrant overlords. The embodiment of predatory stealth, lictors are engineered for ambush and reconnaissance. Possessing an almost supernatural ability to camouflage, they meld into their environment, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. These assassins excel in the art of surprise, their very presence a harbinger of a swift and unseen death. Operating ahead of the main swarm, lictors carry out surgical strikes, their appetite for brains serving the dual purposes of feeding and relaying vital intelligence back to the swarm. Their prowess and stealth is so unparalleled that even the elite Kachakan jungle fighters find themselves outmatched in their own domain, a testament to the lictor's lethal efficiency. Serving as the backbone of the Tyranid horde, Gaunts are the quintessential foot soldiers, smaller and less robust than their kin, yet unmatched in their adaptability in sheer numbers. This species stands as a testament to the Tyranid versatility, with variations sporting wings, adrenal or venom sacs, and even exotic biomechanical armaments like the feared spike rifle, making them a formidable swarm despite their individual frailty. As the aerial contingent of the Gaunt family, gargoyles bring the battle to the skies. Mirroring the adaptive and numeric strength of their terrestrial counterparts, these winged fiends exhibit a similar diminutive stature and combat style. Gargoyles are essentially Gaunts, reimagined for aerial combat, their lower limbs reduced to vestigial remnants, yet they too can be outfitted with an arsenal of symbiotic, bioengineered weaponry. The smallest cogs in the Tyranid war machine, rippers are serpentine entities with a singular purpose: to consume. Unleashed like a living tide upon a world's fall, they scavenge biomass, ensuring the Hive Fleet's relentless growth through the assimilation of new genetic material and nutrients, playing a crucial role in the cycle of invasion and rebirth. Gene stealers are perfectly bioengineered infiltrators that rove ahead of the Tyranid hive fleets, seeking rich feeding grounds. These deadly creatures work by implanting and subverting members of the host species, striving to dominate their victims through alien cunning or terrifying violence as the situation requires. Among the most terrifying of the Tyranid vanguard, gene stealers blend humanoid form with lethal efficiency. Believed to be engineered from human genetics, they not only spearhead the swarm's assault, but also insidiously weave themselves into the fabric of human societies, birthing gene-stealer cults that undermine worlds from within. On the battlefield, they excel as shock troops, their innate prowess in close combat and razor-sharp claws, allowing them to dismantle even the most heavily armored foes with horrifying ease. Once dubbed screamer killers for their fearsome bellow, Carnifexes stand as the Tyranid siege engines of flesh and sinew, surpassing even hive tyrants in raw strength. These behemoths bulldoze through fortifications and armored ranks alike. Armed with an arsenal of bioengineered weaponry, Carnifexes serve as the living equivalents of tanks or space marine dreadnoughts. Remarkably versatile, they can undergo mutations to specialize in roles, ranging from tank destruction to deploying acid and toxins against infantry. Bearing semblance to both Rippers and Tyranid warriors, Raveners are the swift blades of the swarm. Crafted for rapid assaults, these creatures excel in breaching lighter defenses and executing subterranean ambushes, their burrowing capabilities enabling them to surprise and even overrun adversaries. Zoanthropes wield their formidable psychic prowess like artillery. Their grotesquely oversized brains are testament to their mental might. Serving various battlefield roles through their psychic abilities, there's speculation that their enhanced capabilities may stem from the hive mind's integration of Eldari DNA, a sinister evolution sparked by encounters with the craft world Leandan. Biovores are the Tyranid's living artillery platforms, dedicated solely to the cultivation and deployment of spore mines. These languid creatures birth spore mines within their own bodies, launching them at the enemy in a grotesque display of biological warfare. The origins of the Biovores are rumored to trace back to Orcish genetics, highlighting the Tyranid's relentless adaptation and the horrifying diversity of their arsenal. Towering above the battlefield, Biotitans are the Tyranid's answer to the colossal titans and super-heavy war machines of other species. As the apex of land-based Tyranid evolution encountered thus far, they stand between 9 to 30 meters tall, wielding enough destructive power to obliterate entire squads of space marines in a single engagement. Norn Queens are colossal entities that serve as the Tyranid's living factories, their very essence a blend of organic and mechanical marvels. They are in effect the architects of the swarm, capable of manipulating biomass with unparalleled precision to spawn the many forms that comprise the Tyranid's horde. Sequestered within vast chambers aboard hive ships, each Norn Queen reigns supreme over her brood, a singular presence within a cathedral-sized womb. Acting as the terrestrial avatars of the Norn Queens, dominatrixes command the Tyranid ground forces with both size and psychic might rivaling that of a Biotitan. These formidable entities are psychically tethered to their corresponding Norn Queen, establishing a direct synaptic conduit through a symbiotic bond with a smaller, warrior-sized creature, ensuring the Hive Fleet's will is executed upon the field of battle. The Trigons are serpentine leviathans, masters of subterranean assault, capable of surfacing amidst enemy ranks with seismic force. Dwarfing Carnifexes in both size and strength, Trigons not only spearhead attacks but can also synchronize Tyranid forces as synapse creatures. Leading tunnel swarms composed of lictors and hormigons, their chitinous armor hums with bioelectric energy, ready to unleash devastating currents upon their adversaries, making them one of the most feared predators within the Tyranid arsenal. Emerging from the Trigon lineage, Morlocks are formidable, worm-like creatures, navigating the subterranean with a surprising agility for their size. Lacking vision, they are nonetheless adept hunters, relying on pressure waves to detect their quarry above ground. Their claws, though not ideal for direct combat, allow them to tunnel through Earth with remarkable efficiency, setting the stage for their preferred method of attack, emerging suddenly to swallow prey whole, ensuring a slow, living digestion. The approach of a Morlock is heralded by surface tremors, with regular vibrations such as heartbeats, drawing them inexorably towards their next victim. Tasked with the defense of Tyranid nests and structures, Hiveguard embody the concept of mobile artillery. Encased in a durable carapace and anchored by a body designed to support the immense impaler cannon they bear, these creatures are the epitome of Tyranid siege weaponry. Their unique bond with the shard beasts, which serve as living ammunition, grants them the ability to strike targets hidden from their direct line of sight, making them a relentless guardian capable of decimating foes from afar with pinpoint precision. It is well known that destroying the more intelligent creatures in the swarm is essential to stop a Tyranid advance. Training in recognition and fire discipline is of some help in identifying the best targets, but the chaos and confusion of the battlefield make it difficult for troops to pick out their targets amidst the swarming mass of creatures. Ultimately, it is proven best to direct fire at the largest Tyranids in sight, and pray to the Emperor that some of them are the leaders. In a cunning prelude to invasion, Tyranids often lay the groundwork for planetary conquest with a blend of stealth and biological espionage. Utilizing space hulks and other derelict vessels as incubators, they unleash gene stealers into these ghostly confines. These vanguard organisms swiftly map out their metallic labyrinths before entering a dormant state, lying in wait for the inevitable brush with humanity. Upon discovery by Imperial forces, the gene stealers launch surprise assaults on the boarding parties. While they may decimate the crew, they ensure that at least one individual survives, now unwittingly harboring a gene stealer reproductive agent. This parasitic payload, far from lethal, insidiously integrates Tyranid genetic blueprints into the host DNA, sparking an overwhelming compulsion to reproduce, thus siring the first of many gene stealer hybrids. The offspring, bound to their progenitors by an unbreakable psychic linkage, serve as the nucleus for a burgeoning gene stealer cult. With each generation, the cult proliferates through the host society, embedding its tendrils deep within the fabric of the planet's governance and military might, all while maintaining a semblance of normalcy. Beneath this facade, however, the hybrids, connected by a psychic network known as the Broodmind, begin to radiate a psychic distress call into the warp, a beacon for the imminent Tyranid High Fleet. As the shadow of the High Fleet looms ever closer, the Gene Stealer cult, now a formidable force, orchestrates a global uprising designed to destabilize the planet's defenses. The insurrection, fueled by the cult's fervent loyalty to the Tyranid cause, aims to ensure that when the High Fleet finally arrives, it meets little resistance thanks to the meticulously laid out plans of their Gene Stealer vanguard. Upon securing victory, a Tyranid High Fleet proceeds to terraform the conquered planet into an all-you-can-eat buffet. They deploy an array of bioengineered organisms that commence a radical transformation of the planet's climate, surface, and ecosystems, tailoring the world to facilitate the feast to come. And should the Tyranids triumph, the planet is stripped bare, its atmosphere siphoned, oceans drained, and biomass devoured, leaving behind nothing but a barren husk. In warfare, the Tyranids embody the principle of overwhelming force, favoring engagements where they outnumber their adversaries by staggering margins. They excel in swift, close-quarter combat, swarming enemy positions with a relentless tide of claws and teeth. Though their arsenal boasts few ranged options, their numerical superiority and prowess in melee combat compensate, especially under the guidance of a tactically astute leader. Communication with the Tyranids is not just improbable, but irrelevant. To expect dialogue from them is as futile as cattle negotiating with the farmer. They view other life forms with the same detachment humanity reserves for livestock. Their alien minds are beyond bargaining, placation, or surrender, rendering any encounter with them a stark exercise in survival. There is no quarter, no capitulation, only the grim binary of kill or be consumed. With each year, the Tyranid threat burrows deeper into the galaxy's heart, leaving desolation in their wake. Despite desperate resistance from the many species of the galaxy, the shadow of new hive fleets looms large, drawing inexorably closer from the void. Stirring from eons of dormancy, these new swarms join the chorus of the hive mind, a singular, expanding intellect focused on the eternal imperatives of consumption, growth, and evolution, an endless cycle of devour and adapt that threatens all life in its path. Observe the degree of integration of the Tyranid symbiote weapons. At first, these were relatively crude and were carried and employed, however distastefully, by the creatures that used them like a gun or sword. In later encounters, Tyranids have exhibited more and more frequently, weaponry meshed directly into the creatures carrying them. Now it has become impossible to tell where the Tyranid warrior ends and its weapon symbiotes begin. I think we can be assured that the Norn Queens will continue to work tirelessly towards more and more perfectly adapted for killing the inhabitants of this galaxy, just as they have in others before ours. Simply put, over the coming centuries, we may be out-evolved to the point of extinction. Unlike the civilizations of the Milky Way, who craft their armadas and arsenals from metal and synthetics, the Tyranids sculpt theirs from the very essence of life. Utilizing the harvested biomatter of devoured worlds, they engage in a horrid form of artistry, gene splicing and bioengineering every aspect of their martial might. From the virulent spores clouding invaded skies to the sinister towers erupting from besieged soil, each is a living testament to Tyranid ingenuity. Their warriors are nightmares made flesh, terrifying entities armed with natural armaments sharp enough to dissect reality itself, alongside biocannons that spew voracious, parasitic death. Their arsenal of living, breathing biomorphs, each a byproduct of reclaimed conquests, showcases a horrifying alternative to mechanical warfare. Through sophisticated biotechnological mastery, the Tyranids forge organic counterparts to the conventional weaponry and tools of other species. So intimate is the bond between weapon and wielder in their ranks that discerning where the creature ends and its armament begins becomes an exercise in futility. The warrior beasts brandish these living implements with lethal grace, each a symbiotic masterpiece honed for extermination. The adaptability of the Tyranid hordes is unparalleled, their forces a menagerie of specialized death designed for every warfare aspect, ready to be recalibrated and reborn for the theater of war at hand. With such a capacity for rapid evolution, our Hive Fleet conjures an inexhaustible tide of monstrosities, flyers, burrowers, stalkers and chargers, tailored to penetrate, overrun, and obliterate any defense laid before them, a relentless deluge of alien terror. Though never a verdant world, the lifeless ball of rock that we discovered was unrecognizable as Tyran Primus. The creatures that did this are a threat to the galaxy, and must be exterminated by the light of the God Emperor. The Tyranid menace presents an unequaled cataclysm, capable of reducing verdant worlds to desolate empty shells. Their methodical conquest unfolds in meticulously orchestrated phases, each introducing a new variant of bioengineered horrors tailored for devastation. Within days, a planet brimming with life is methodically purged of its organic essence, and with their hunger momentarily quelled, the Hive Fleet withdraws into the void, leaving in its wake naught but a voided sphere, a testament to their consuming passage. This cycle of consumption and departure marks the Tyranids not merely as invaders, but as an existential threat to life itself, their approach heralding the end of worlds. As I looked into its dead black eyes, I saw the terrible sentience it had in place of a soul. Behind that was the steel will of its leader. Further still, I could feel its primogenitor coldly assessing me from the void, and looking back from the deepest recesses of the alien's mind, I perceived what I can only describe as an immortal hunger. We can slay the Tyranids on our worlds, blast their fleets from space, grind their armies to torn and ruined fragments, but their hunger, that is beyond our ability to slay. The initial whispers of a Tyranid invasion are marked by an eerie quietude, a testament to their cunning approach. In these nascent phases, the alien vanguard assesses the world's ripe potential for conquest, subtly weaving the first threads of infestation into the fabric of native life. The spearhead of this silent assessment is formed by 3 specialized Tyranid bioforms, vanguard drone ships, lictors, and gene stealers, each embodying the art of stealth and autonomy essential for scouting and infiltration. Endowed with natural abilities geared towards obscurity, these entities employ their skills in subterfuge to study the prey planet unnoticed. Given their sparse numbers during this preliminary stage, these Tyranids display a rare caution, prioritizing survival and propagation as the keystones for the impending invasion. The scouts stand apart from the typical Tyranid throng, renowned more for its unthinking, collective ferocity than for discreet action. Where the greater swarm thrives under the guiding psychic hand of the hive mind, these advanced agents boast a capacity for independent operation, necessitated by the vast gulfs separating them from their kin. Their intelligence and adaptability shine in the meticulous crafting of their infiltration strategies, a prelude to the horror and devastation that follows in the wake of their discovery. Vanguard drone ships epitomize the Tyranid preference for stealth and speed, leveraging their diminutive stature and muted psychic and propulsion emissions to surreptitiously survey prospective star systems. Often, these nimble scouts deposit their ominous payload on promising worlds before hastening to probe further cosmic territories. Given their fleeting presence, Imperial detection remains a rare occurrence, preserving the grim secrecy of their mission. However, on the occasion a drone ship is spotted, it immediately ascends to the apex of Imperial target lists. Neutralizing it post-haste could forestall the Tyranid menace, buying precious time against the impending swarm. Lictors, the architects of covert surveying, commence their grim work upon deployment. With a predator's grace, they traverse the planetary wilderness, their feeder tendrils sampling the air, soil, and fauna to paint a detailed biological canvas for the hive mind. Their hunt is not limited to the non-sentient. Lone creatures and intelligent beings alike are consumed, their memories and knowledge assimilated. This gathered intelligence is beamed back to the collective consciousness once a synaptic link is established, refining the invasion blueprint. This is why eliminating a lictor before it can relay its findings can significantly handicap the swarm's adaptive strategies, rendering the impending horde less attuned to the unique challenges of the planet's biosphere. Gene Stealers, on the other hand, represent the Vanguard's vanguard, the most clandestine of the Tyranid infiltrators. As they prowl the targeted world, they not only survey, but also sow the seeds of future conquest, mingling Tyranid genes with the native flora and fauna. As mentioned earlier, this genetic sabotage creates a line of hybrid creatures, bending to the will of a broodlord or another Tyranid figurehead, thus anchoring the initial stitch into the tapestry of invasion. Gene Stealers possess the guile to breach planetary defenses without a drone ship, having been discovered aboard derelict space hulks and nestled within the cargo bays of warp-traversing ships. The urgency to eradicate these entities cannot be overstated. Left unchecked, they lay the groundwork for a burgeoning nest, around which a cult of hybrid zealots rapidly coalesces. Once the Gene Stealers secure their foothold, the nature of their mission evolves. The assimilation of the planet's biology acts as the beacon, sending out a psychic distress signal that cuts through the cosmos. This signal beckons the Hive Fleet, drawing in a predatory armada led by a hive ship. The convergence of these Tyranid forces signifies the grim transition from covert infiltration to overt siege, marking the next, more devastating stage of the planet's downfall. We have observed their vanguard organisms herd prey like cattle into the path of the main swarms. We have seen them expend tides of lesser beasts so that their enemies have no ammunition left when their leaders attack, and armored columns channeled into narrow defiles where but one of their assault beasts can tear through an entire tank company. Only yesterday, we received a picked capture of several platoons falling back into the keep of Next Bastion, only to be trapped and slaughtered by burrowing organisms that burst from the ground.
Leviathan is the greatest, and has wrought ruin on a scale never before witnessed. Though the great rift arising from Cadia's ruin has severed many of Leviathan's tendrils, many more remain.
The entrance of the Hive ship and its entourage marks a dire escalation in the siege of a star system. This colossal biovessel acts as a potent synaptic linchpin for the hive mind, casting a psychic maelstrom known as the Shadow in the Warp over several light years. The phenomenon effectively silences any attempts at psychic distress signals from the beleaguered planet. Defense fleets, too, find themselves hamstrung, their emergence from the immaterium thwarted within the affected zone. Upon nearing its prey world, the Hive ship commences a relentless bombardment of mycetic spores. These biopods, each a payload of destruction, deliver both the simplest and most complex of Tyranid lifeforms to the planet's surface. Microbial invaders set about a terraforming onslaught, transmuting the atmosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere into a buffet ripe for Tyranid consumption, reconfiguring complex organic structures into forms more palatable for the swarm. Amidst this biological onslaught, more sophisticated Tyranid entities take their first steps onto the planet. Gaunts and gargoyles lay the groundwork for subsequent invasions, while leviathans like Morlocks and Trigons delve into the crust, sowing the seeds for capillary towers and carving out subterranean networks. These tunnels not only facilitate further infestation, but also enable the harvest of the planet's mineral resources and subterranean life, sheltered from above-ground resistance. This multifaceted approach to a planetary onslaught ensures that no aspect of the prey world remains untapped, setting the stage for a comprehensive conquest. As the skies darken with Tyranid biopods, the gene-stealers and lictors previously lying dormant on the planet spring into action. Utilizing their pre-gathered intelligence and the chaos spawned by their hybrid offspring, they initiate a campaign of disruption. Their tactics, precision strikes against leadership and communication nodes, aim to unravel the planet's defense network from within. In this critical juncture, swift and decisive measures by the planet's defenders become paramount, and the destruction of the Hive ship emerges as an important objective. Should this behemoth fall, the resultant disarray within the Tyranid ranks could spell an opportunity to dismantle the invasion piecemeal. Though a daunting task, targeting the mycetic spores as they descend offers an alternative route to stymieing the Tyranid advance. Given the finite nature of the Hive ship's reserves, each spore neutralized equates to a tangible reduction in the enemy's ground forces. The Hive mind, for all its relentlessness, is not without pragmatism. Faced with unexpectedly formidable resistance, it may opt to withdraw, reallocating its devastating might towards more vulnerable prey. Thus, an unyielding defense can sometimes deflect the calamity elsewhere. Crucial to thwarting the gene-stealer menace is safeguarding the planet's communications infrastructure. In an environment where astropathic signals are stifled, maintaining robust, secure lines of communication becomes a lifeline, essential to coordinating a defense capable of repelling the extragalactic invaders. As the Tyranid invaders secure their foothold on a planet, the assault escalates rapidly. The air, land and sea teem with a relentless surge of bioforms. Gaunts, gargoyles and gene-stealers lead the charge, a living storm of teeth, claws and shadow. Among this horde, the towering might of Carnifexes, Tyranofexes, and even the colossal Hierophant Biotitans march forth, engines of annihilation in their own right, leaving devastation in their wake. These diverse creatures amass into vast armies, forging battle lines that stretch for hundreds of miles. In their wake, capillary towers, rising like monoliths from the planet's bowels, serve a sinister purpose beyond their looming presence. These structures process to consume biomass, spawning further nightmares to bolster the Tyranid ranks. Despite their plant-like semblance, capillary towers are anything but passive. Their tendrils reach far and wide, ensnaring flora and fauna alike, even as they leech the very air for its microscopic life. This absorption not only fuels the Tyranid war machine, but alters the planet's atmosphere itself, preparing it for the final stages of domination. On the front lines, termagants unleash barrages from their bioweapons, decimating ranks of defenders from afar, while hormagants hurl themselves into the fray with ferocious zeal. Orchestrated by the strategic command of warriors, these swarms, numbering in the hundreds, operate with terrifying efficiency, each creature a cog in the hive mind's grand design of conquest and consumption. When the tide of battle does not immediately turn in their favor, the hive mind demonstrates its tactical flexibility by deploying its more formidable strains into the fray. For planets shielded by robust defenses, the swarm escalates the response, spawning giants such as the Dominatrix and Hierophant, titanic bioforms that can stand toe-to-toe with the mightiest Imperial Titans. And confronted with particular stubborn resistance, the hive mind exhibits remarkable strategic agility. Raveners and Trigons, for instance, might be unleashed to tunnel beneath fortifications, springing ambushes from below, or disrupting enemy formations from the rear. Meanwhile, aerial predators like shrikes and harpies swoop down from the skies, executing precision strafing runs. Despite the swarm's readiness to expend countless lives for the smallest territorial gain, it refrains from senseless attrition. Every move is a calculated step in the dance of war, showcasing the Tyranid's innate propensity for innovation on the battlefield. It's a curious observation that the primary wave of Tyranid attackers does not consume the fallen defenders directly. Instead, they leave behind a trail of destruction for subsequent waves to assimilate, ensuring that no resource goes to waste in their relentless advance. The battlegrounds are often scattered with both the fallen foes and the Tyranids themselves, the latter's demise viewed with indifference by the hive mind. Each Tyranid life spent is considered fulfilled, its value recouped as the swarm recycles their biomass, ensuring that in death, as in life, they nourish the ongoing invasion. Above the war-torn planets, gargoyles and harpies darken the skies, their sheer numbers eclipsing the starlight, fulfilling dual roles beyond their participation in terrestrial skirmishes. Like their grounded counterpart, the capillary towers, these aerial marauders consume the biomass of the skies. Not only do they reclaim this vital resource for the swarm, but their presence also blots out sunlight, starving photosynthetic organisms and gradually destabilizing the planet's climate and atmosphere. At this juncture, the invasion has taken a deep root, and simple victory in battle will not reverse the devastation wrought. Even the destruction of the hive ship offers no remedy. The infestation is spread too thoroughly, too deeply. The hive mind's resilience means that eradicating every last Xenos could span millennia, a testament to the pervasive and enduring blight of the Tyranid presence. The invasion permeates down to the microscopic, their very DNA evidence to resilience against conventional warfare's poisons and pathogens. The smallest creature, left unchecked, harbors the grim promise of resurgence, a reminder that the Tyranid threat is not only formidable in its might, but in its insidious capacity to endure and adapt. We retreat, we fall back, we make strategic withdrawals, we consolidate, we evacuate. When in the name of all that's holy are we going to fight back against the Tyranid threat? Events at Ikar 4 and Mikraj have proved that the hive fleets can be stopped, but where are the armies and the ships to stop them again? Believe me, sirs, I can appreciate that outposts and minor stations cannot be held against the infernal numbers of these aliens without an unconscionable expenditure of force. I have seen with my own eyes the results of such folly. I can also appreciate that the strategy of holy terror is not mine to question, but I fear that the perspective gained from viewing reports from thousands of light years away belies the seriousness of the situation here on the eastern fringe. While the vanguard of warriors engages the planet's defenses in relentless combat, a different kind of horror unfolds in their wake. An array of bioforms dedicated not to destruction, but to harvest sweeps across the battlegrounds. This cleanup crew, converting the planet's own bounty into the swarm, exemplifies their cyclical efficiency. While some of the reaped biomass fuels the creation of more soldiers for the front lines, the lion's share is earmarked for the gargantuan hive ships in orbit, which await the planet's fall before feasting. At the forefront of this reclamation effort are the rippers that rain from the skies in vast swarms. These voracious feeders indiscriminately consume any organic matter they encounter, leaving nothing but barrenness in their path. Once sated, these feeders lumber towards the capillary tower's digestive pools, not to deposit their harvest, but to plunge into the acidic baths themselves, thereby returning their ingested bounty to the hive mind. The cycle of consumption and renewal perpetuates with the creation of new rippers, ensuring the relentless stripping of the planet continues unabated. Below the waves and beneath the ground, similar bioforms extend this ecological purge. In the oceans, eel-like rippers form vast predatory shoals that decimate marine life, while their burrowing counterparts follow the paths carved by trigons and raveners, feasting upon the hidden bounty of the planet's subterranean realms. This total exploitation leaves no corner of the planet untouched, a testament to the Tyranids' thoroughness in their grim harvest. The infestation leaves no stone unturned, nor any mineral reserve untapped, particularly those rare ores crucial for the reinforcement of their weapon biomorphs' exoskeletons. In their relentless pursuit, capillary towers, vast organic pillars, assert dominance even in the unlikeliest of places, the planet's deepest ocean trenches. These structures, enduring the abysmal pressures and frigid temperatures, stretch kilometers towards the ocean's surface, becoming monolithic agents of change, even capable of altering tidal patterns through their insatiable consumption of biomass. At this advanced stage of occupation, the notion of reclaiming the planet is a lost cause. Exterminatus, the wholesale annihilation of the world, emerges as the grim sole recourse. For worlds ensnared by the Hive Fleet's grip, salvation lies only in their obliteration, preempting the Tyranids' conversion of the planet's mass into further means of galactic predation. However, within this dire strategy lies a sliver of tactical advantage. The Tyranid swarm, having invested heavily into the bioconversion process, may find itself momentarily resource depleted, their attentions fixated on the harvest at hand. This phase represents a critical opportunity. The Tyranid fleet, engrossed in its feast, might be more vulnerable to counterattack. Striking at the heart of the Hive Fleet and sacrificing the planet might prove a less daunting challenge now than in the initial stages of the invasion, offering a bleak but necessary option for those seeking to curb the Tyranid threat. The Tyranids are without a doubt the most rapidly evolving creatures in the galaxy. The Majos biologists of Mars have observed developmental DNA leaps between broods originating from different hive fleets that would take other beasts millions of years to achieve. It appears that the Tyranid norm queens, or primogenitor organisms above the hive ships, are capable of modifying their progeny in response to the environment and life forms they encounter. Newly harvested genetic codes are assimilated, the prey's defense measures are examined, and improved creatures are bioengineered to overcome that resistance. Over time, the myriad improvements to the Hive Fleet's gene pool are melded with others, strengthening the entire race. With the planet's last defenders vanquished, the invasion enters its final, chilling phase. Capillary towers now funnel the planet's biomass back to the orbiting hive ship and its escorting fleet. These living leviathans extend their tendrils, which breach the atmosphere to connect with the towers, acting as colossal straws to suck the planet dry. Through a horrid symphony of organic pumps and vacuum-like forces, the biomass ascends the towers. At this point, even the Tyranid survivors sacrifice themselves to the digestive pools at the tower's bases, their essence disassembled and repurposed. This mass recycling ensures that every drop of Tyranid and native biomass fuels the next wave of cosmic predation. But it's not just raw biomass that's reclaimed. The genetic legacy of the planet, encompassing the memories and evolutionary triumphs of its life forms, is assimilated. This genetic wealth enriches the Hive Fleet, making it even more versatile and formidable. Subsequently, the Tyranids drain the planet's water bodies, their insatiable hunger turning to the very essence that once sustained life. The hive ships swell with the stolen vitality, their biostorage chambers engorged with the plundered liquid treasures. As the operation nears its grim conclusion, even the capillary towers are consumed, leaving no trace of their existence. Lastly, the planet's atmosphere and the remaining towers are absorbed, leaving behind nothing but a lifeless husk. The Hive Fleet, now bloated with the spoils of conquest, begins to set its sights on new worlds to devour, leaving behind a silent monument to their unyielding hunger. Among the Magi biologists, there's speculation that the Tyranids' final act of planetary consumption might involve even larger void-faring entities than those catalogued thus far. Alternatively, some even posit the use of novel methods to condense the atmosphere into a tangible form. Though the Imperium remains in the dark about the exact process, the result is starkly evident: a once vibrant world reduced to a valueless, airless stone. In the void between stars, the hive mind examines the genetic treasures gleaned from its latest conquest. This genetic almanac not only serves as a record, but as a crucible for the evolution of new Tyranid variants. These innovations, however, are not rushed into existence. The hive mind, in its inscrutable wisdom, reserves the right to unveil these new life forms at strategically opportune moments, underscoring the Tyranids' mastery of adaptation as the cornerstone of their enduring dominion. For any late-arriving defenders, the realization dawns bleakly. The battle was lost before it began. The only sliver of purpose left is in warning others, a desperate bid to fortify neighboring systems against the inexorable Tyranid advance. The threat they pose is not just of a physical nature, but existential, challenging the very survival of every species they encounter. In facing the Tyranids, the galaxy's inhabitants confront not only a battle for territory, but a fight for the continuation of life itself against an adversary that knows neither pity nor remorse, only eternal hunger. They embody the dark fear of the unknown, a relentless, devouring tide emerging from the void to consume the galaxy. Their presence challenges the might of empires, tests the resolve of warriors, and underscores the precariousness of existence in a universe where such hunger can emerge from the darkness between stars. I know you may find the Tyranids physically repellent to look at, but believe me, you don't want to let them out of your sight.
As the Hive Fleets advance, the suffocating embrace quenches the Emperor's light and drowns doomed worlds in psychic shadow.
Forget the promise of progress and understanding. For in the grim, dark future, there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter.
Our people sing of victory. Victory as the galaxy burns. Victory as the Imperium rocks around us. Victory.